2025, my creative mentor asked me, what would you do if you weren't afraid of failure? And so, after a long while of coding my website, writing my articles, and just exploring how I really truly felt about music and creativity in general, on the 6th of June 2025, I ended up going live with the Groovy. This ended up being a hub where I shared multiple of my album reactions, my photography opinions, where I was able to interview some friends. And then eventually on June 19th, 2025, I had the privilege of interviewing Callum Hood. That interview with Callum Hood, I didn't know at the time, would end up opening up my entire career to possibilities I never thought I would ever have. Because of this interview, I ended up being able to have the writers Ava, Megan, and Al join me. We went on to write multiple different articles on albums, photography, fashion, basically any sort of creativity that we loved. And then at the end of last year, our love for 5 Seconds of Summer in particular, but multiple different types of creativity, and the shared fact that we were photographers meant that Troy and I were able to start the Mo on the Mic podcast. Then, earlier this year, when Troy and I had to go on a break for a little while, The Mum and the Fangirl was born, which was again another place where I could share my music and creativity with my mother. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you. Whether you have read our articles, watched a podcast, or engaged with our content in any way, it has all built this amazing community. I would also like to take a moment to thank all of our amazing artists who have gotten involved in interviews, articles, and even our first birthday project this year. So, enough of me yapping. I would now like to present our Groovy Move first birthday project. Enjoy this video. So the first song on my playlist is Why Does Love Do This To Me by The Exponents. This is the earliest song I can ever remember my dad playing for me, so I had to mention this one. It's also a Kiwi band, so it holds a very special place in my heart. Continuing on the theme of music that my dad raised me on, Dad raised me on a lot of U2's music, so the next one is I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, which is a classic U2 song. Again, as you're going to see, Dad influenced a lot of my music taste, especially with all the music he played for me growing up. So the next one is Rhythm is a Dancer by Snap. And I was definitely a kid who knew about MTV growing up. Dad told me the story about how Video Killed the Radio Star was the first song that was ever played on MTV. And fun fact, it was also the last song ever played on MTV. So this one was a huge song in our house. As I mentioned earlier, Dad influenced a lot of my music taste growing up. So much so that one Christmas I bought him ABBA as a gift and then proceeded to steal it back and sneak it and play it on my own CD player. So the next song is Dancing Queen by ABBA. Sometimes a song sticks with me because I love the sound. Other times, the words really touch my heart, which was the case for I've Seen It by Olivia Dean. The love that she talks about seeing in her parents, I relate to. I've seen a love like that with my own parents, and so that's why this one is so special to me. Now this next one is not actually about the sound or the lyrics. This next one really stands out to me because of the video. Youngblood dedicated his video for Zombie to nurses, and having a mum who is also a nurse, this one also holds a very special place in my heart. Now if like me you grew up in the 2010s, you probably have some sort of memory of playing Just Dance on the Wii with your siblings, and so the next song is Me and My Broken Heart by Rixton because it's one of the ones that my brother and I would dance to all of the time. Speaking of my brother, he actually happens to be a drummer, and so the next song, Blood on the Drums by Ashton Irwin, not only does it remind me of my brother's dedication to the drums, which he's been playing since about 3 years old, but it also reminds me of my own dedication and passion to music because of how much Ashton gives on the drums and because of the lyrics in that song. One of my earliest memories of listening to music that I chose to listen to myself was One Direction. So What Makes You Beautiful is the next song on this playlist. Now, my poor innocent grandfather, when I came home from school one day, thought he was pulling up One Direction, but he ended up pulling up She Looks So Perfect for 5 Seconds of Summer. At the time, I was like, Granddad, what are you doing? But now, years later, I'm still a massive Five Sauce fan, so I guess I have him to thank for that. My first ever concert was Elton John, because Dad raised me to love Elton John's music, so the next song is Rocket Man. My second concert I ever went to was actually just when I'd moved back to my hometown for university. We went to see Ed Sheeran, me and my mother, and one of the songs he played, Castle on a Hill, really got me quite emotional because he's singing about returning to his hometown, and I was like, Oh, I get this song so much more than I ever have now because I too am returning to my hometown. So this one is quite an emotional one for me. The first CD I ever purchased was Harry Styles' Fine Line. And so Sunflower Volume 6 is the next one. The first record I ever bought was Luke Hemmings' Boy. And so Garden Life is the next one. And this next song is incredibly special to me. So my first ever interview that really blew up was with Callum Hood. And so Don't Forget You Love Me holds a very, very special place in my heart. And the final song, in terms of the music that made me, is Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, because it was the first ever song I learnt on the guitar. So there you have it. That's the music that made me.
Hi there, my name is Elle, and I'm a writer for the Groovy Moo. When I think about the music that made me, my first thought is Helena by MCR. Probably because I was almost named after it. I know, crazy. But ever since I was little, I remember my dad just being a D1 MCR fan, and I remember that translating to who I am now. Then, fast forwarding a whole lot, we're like talking 11, 12 years, another piece of music that I think really shaped me was Olivia Rodrigo's Sour. I was too young to ever have my heart broken when it came out, but I do remember it coming out at a very difficult point in my life, and that being some of the first music that I chose myself to like. And I think that really solidified the beginning of me making my own music taste. And having a mix of a little bit of rock, mostly pop, also really helps explain my music taste today. She's also the first concert that I chose to go see, so I thought that's really cool. Thinking more about music that made me, I would say probably all within the same 1 year time span. I started off with Taylor Swift in 2023, and I remember her getting me through a lot of difficulties in friendship, a lot of friendship heartbreaks, and I remember from there discovering One Direction with my best friend, who I was very adamant, there's no way I'm listening to a boy band at this time of my life. Freak no. So who's gonna tell her? But I got into One Direction around that time, and about a year, not even a full year after that, I got into 5 Seconds of Summer, which brings me to my next specific song, and that would be You Don't Go to Parties. That one specifically resonates with me because now at this point in my life, I have been able to experience a heartbreak, and I remember looping that song during it over and over and over, up until the point that it became probably my most favorite song ever. Not to exaggerate or anything, but that song has helped me through so many difficult points in my life, and just having it in my back pocket is so great. There's a lot of music that have made me, but I feel like those are the ones that have most stuck out through my lifespan. So, yeah.
Hey, my name is Emma Kate, and I'm a pop singer from Wellington, New Zealand, and this is the music that made me. So the first song on my playlist is Love Story by Taylor Swift, and I picked this song because it's on the first album that I ever got, which is Fearless. This is the first CD that I ever owned, and Love Story was the first song that I ever heard from Taylor Swift, and I love Taylor Swift. She's a big inspiration for me as a songwriter. My second song on my playlist is Accidentally in Love from Counting Crows. I picked this song because it's in Shrek 2, which is my favourite movie in the world. That song always makes me in a happy mood, and that song is just iconic. My next song is I Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King, and this movie was iconic in my childhood as well. I grew up watching a lot of Disney movies, and this one was a repeat run in my household. I also had a toothbrush that sang this song while I brushed my teeth, which is so random, but I love it. The next song is Gotta Go My Own Way from High School Musical 2. When I was growing up, I was very obsessed with High School Musical 1, 2 and 3. 2 was my favourite, and I had High School Musical posters and everything everywhere. My next song is Domino by Jessie J. This is a song that I discovered in primary school. I just thought it was such a fun song. I loved being able to belt and just sing as loud as I possibly could. The next song I picked was 3 AM by Meghan Trainor. This song was on her debut album, and we had this album on CD and we would play it in the car when I was growing up, and this may not have been everyone else's favourite song, but I really liked it. I loved her songwriting, and I think her falsetto just sounded so pretty in the song. My next song is Your Biggest Fan by Never Shout Never. This was a song I discovered in Year 9, and it was when me and my best friend both used to hang out and play ukulele and sing songs together. So I'm putting this one in here for her. Next song is Shut Up and Fish by Maddie and Tay. A very, very twangy country song. This song is not something I would typically listen to. However, when I discovered it, I thought it was the best thing in the world. I thought it was a hilarious song. It's like if Sabrina Carpenter made hillbilly country music. I had a country phase when I was in high school, so I thought I'd include it. The next song is Greedy by Ariana Grande, and I loved Ariana Grande. I discovered her when I was in high school as well, and so I put this song because this is one I remember singing a lot as I was growing up. Next song that I put is Indodana by St. Francis Choir. It's actually not by them, but the version that I found is by them, and I thought it was beautiful. Indodana is a song that I did in choir when I was in high school, and we sang it in year 13 as our last final choir song together, and we all were just on the stage crying together because it was such a beautiful emotional piece, and yeah, it just highlights a really monumental time in my life of bonding with my friends and creating this choir community and having to leave it behind as we all graduated high school. The next song in the playlist is Brooklyn by The Midnight. This is a song that I wouldn't have discovered if it wasn't for my boyfriend. This song just reminds me of us every time I hear it, and I think it's really sweet. Next song I want to add in here is Ceilings by Lizzie McAlpine. I'm putting this song in because, to be honest, if I could only listen to one song for the rest of my life, it would be Ceilings. And the last song that I'm putting in this playlist is Turns Out I'm Amazing by Carol Addis. I'm obsessed with her. I love her lyrics, I love her vocals, I love her cover art. She's a real inspiration for me. This song has been on repeat ever since it came out earlier this year. This is all the music that made me, and thanks for listening. Hopefully you found a new song that you can also love.
Hey, I'm Beth Elston, and this is the music that made me. I'm going to be using vinyls and CDs today to help me tell the story. So first up, something I inherited from my dad was a love for the Killers. This is Sam's Town. It was with us for every road trip as a family, and yeah, it's just a perfect album, I would say. From my mum, U2, and we went and camped out for the concert when they last came here, and we got front row, and yeah, that just sort of sealed the deal. I think they're incredible, and I love Where the Streets Have No Name. And then some other influences, Talking Heads was huge, and also Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac was really hammered home by the Glee episode where they all did a song from Rumours, and it made me sort of go in and discover the deep cuts of Fleetwood Mac, and I still love them to this day. Ooh. I have a big love for musical theatre, which sort of started doing school productions, so I have West Side Story here because I did a production of it when I was 15, and it's really helped me with my vocal range because it's a very high soprano part. And then I also have Wicked. I wasn't actually huge on this as a kid. I loved Legally Blonde the musical and Heathers the musical though, which is like the same thing. It's like contemporary musical theatre. I'll just eat it up. The 1975, when I first heard Girls and Chocolate, I was like, sorry, what is this? And I haven't really stopped loving them since. So yeah, this is their latest album, but just imagine it's the debut album, the 1975 here. And then close to the end, Carly Rae Jepsen. Run Away With Me is like the best pop song ever, and I saw her in concert after my very first breakup, and it literally healed me, and it literally like made me realize I'm gonna be absolutely fine on my own, and yeah, I love her for that. And then my final influence is Miss Taylor Swift. I inherited all of these through like birthdays and Christmases and buying them myself. She has definitely encouraged me to songwrite. I think I started writing songs at 8 years old, sort of from Hannah Montana and Taylor Swift. And one of the first songs I learnt on the guitar was Our Song. And yeah, I still love her to this day. I'm a huge Tortured Poets department head. I still listen to that all the time. And yeah, these are my influences.
Hi, my name is Eva Iggis, and I am one of the writers for the Groovy Me. One of my favourite songs in my playlist is Piano Man by Billy Joel. And I think one of the main reasons I like it is because it's very different from a lot of modern music because it tells a story instead of just like repeating the same lines over and over again. And it makes it feel more meaningful to listen to, I suppose. But what I actually enjoy most about the song is the atmosphere that it creates. But I also really like the piano and the harmonica. But I think everyone does. Also, like, the instrumental feels very like warm and comforting, and I think that it matches the storytelling perfectly. Another thing I like about this song is that, like, it feels really timeless. Like, it's kind of old, but like the emotions in it feel real still. Another song I really like is West End Girls by Pet Shop Boys. I don't really have a reason for liking this song. I just like enjoy the sound and the vibe. I think I kind of have a soft spot for older music. But anyway, I think what really makes this specific song stand out to me is how like different it sounds. Like even though it came out decades ago, it still sounds unique, which is probably why people still listen to it. But it doesn't try too hard to be like emotional or overdramatic. And I think that's part of why it works so well. It feels like effortless in a way that a lot of modern music just kind of misses. And like the rhythm makes it easy to listen to. And it's like one of those songs that can like get stuck in your head without being like really painful. Finally, we have Harvey by Alex G. I think one of the main reasons I enjoy this song so much is because like generally I love all of Alex G's music. It's like his songs have a very like specific sound that feels different from like most artists. I like how calm and emotional and like kind of whimsical they can be like all at the same time. But like what I specifically like about this song is like the atmosphere it creates. It feels simple, but like in a way that makes it more personal and genuine. And like a lot of Alex G's music has this kind of raw emotion that like stands out. I also enjoy how his music can like feel nostalgic even when there's like not a specific memory connected to it. And there's something about the instrumentals and vocals that create this comforting but like kind of melancholic, that is not the right word, but sad feeling. I think that's why like so many people like connect with his music emotionally, even if like people see the songs in different ways. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Bye.
Kia ora, I'm Ali Whitten, Wellington-based singer-songwriter, grew up in the UK, but New Zealand-born, and this is the music that made me. The first one is Damien Rice, the album O. So I was told by a teacher very early on that I couldn't sing, and so when I started writing songs, I was writing in quite a talky way, and that Damien Rice album, like the emotional impact of that and hearing all the words and just really how stripped back it was like formative in my songwriting. The next album would be Anything by Bright Eyes, so it was Lifted, the album Lifted or Keep Your Ear to the Soil and the Stories in the Ground or something, and then I'm Wide Awake It's Morning by Bright Eyes and Conor Burst, like again just all about the lyrics for me. And I used to just sit with the CD booklet and read the lyrics over and over again as I was listening to the whole record. And then I got some records here that, like, as I got older, Bonnie Prince Billy. I love this album. It's a double album. It's where he reimagined a lot of his older stuff, but he's just been a massive. I just would aspire to write songs like him. And then of course, this guy, Bob Dylan's been a massive influence. Blonde on Blonde was a huge record for me, and I feel like a fool now because when I was a little kid, Dad played Bob Dylan in the car, and we'd be like, "Oh, this guy can't sing," So how ironic is that? But I love his work, and my dad would be like, listen to the words, listen to the words. So yeah, that's just a bit of the songs and the albums that made me. And happy birthday to the website Groovy Moo, and yeah, really appreciate your support of my debut album this year. Kia ora.
Kia ora, I'm Peter Mority. I'm a Māori musician, actress and content creator, and this is the music that made me. I've got older parents, so I listen to basically just what they would listen to. Lots of crooner music, Elvis, ABBA, etc, etc. We had a jukebox though with a lot of CDs, so I would just listen to those. Someone I've been really inspired by my whole life though, who is really good at their craft and making not just music but like something magic, is Michael Jackson, especially his older stuff for me, like the Off the Wall album and the Thriller album. There's just something in it that makes me just want to move or like really feel, and it's something that I've always wanted to put into my music as well and be at that level of craftsmanship. But it was something that me and my whānau used to boogie to, so it has special memories in my heart. As a kid, I also loved Katy Perry. I remember one day I got given the CD Teenage Dream, and I would put it in the jukebox and I would just dance for hours to all the songs and make performances and sing them. Some of the songs were a bit questionable though. I had to skip Circle the Drain. I wasn't allowed to listen to that one, but I was allowed to listen to Peacock, which looking back, I'm a bit like, okay. I would sing a lot of Katy Perry songs, but one that I used to sing and perform with my friend, we even made a dance routine for our performance, was The One That Got Away. And I think another song that really inspired me was Royals by Lorde. I was obsessed with that song. Kids in primary school used to say I looked like her Loki, and I was like, hey. I started performing that song and other songs of hers, but I remember specifically with that song, I had this just random tom drum that I used to own, and I would perform the song playing the drum and then just singing to that. No like other instruments, just that. And I used to do that at just gigs. I think I did it in Mitre 10 Mega once. They were holding performances. Like, I used to just take this drum with me everywhere. It was really inspiring as a little girl to see a Kiwi artist become so worldwide and recognizable. So it really inspired me. But I think these are a few that really shaped me and gave me my love of performance in music as well as creating music itself.